This is a rough and raw tour of the fairy garden on this Fall Equinox day, September 22nd, 2022. Here is my lawn. Use that term loosely. There is a naturalized flower bed. Needs a lot of attending to. Our wind chime, and just because I think it's cool, here's a peek over the edge. I need to work on some stairs, but it's really cool going down there. It's a whole nother fairy area. Creeps around behind the fairy house. Yes, there is a lot of work to do, but I was out here doing a little bit of weeding, and this is my favorite time of day in the fairy garden because the sun comes through the trees from the west and I like the lighting. So I did a fairy garden shed tour. It's in another video. And when we got on this property 2 years ago, there was nothing here. Yeah, nothing but a patch of dirt that I decided would be a good place for the fairy garden. So we started out, hopefully I can find some old pictures to throw in here, but we started out with an arch, an arbor that was on sale at the local Fred Meyer's, and that was quite a ways back here. I think it was about right here, because that was my corner. That was all the corner I got. But then we built the fairy house and the arch was in the wrong place, so I had to move it back, and the fairy garden has expanded and it's waiting for me to finish a new walkway. And there's my quaking aspen tree, my hillside, that if anybody knows what to do about erosion, let me know, because it's got to be addressed. Right now I have a log pile holding up this section. Anyhow, that's another topic. So the fairy mailbox, the hostas have been moved around. They're doing great right there. Let's see. This is a lovely purple plant, flowering plant, and the deer love to nibble off the blossoms, but it is very nice bush, and I don't know the name of anything in here, but I will try to put it in the description or something. This, I think, is it's a bush that's been moved several times, poor thing, and it's not doing well, but hopefully next year I'll trim it back and it'll come up nice. Our gazing ball, and my quaking aspen tree has really grown, and look how beautiful the bark is now. I love bark. The dahlias, that's as far as they got, and they stopped. The Sweet Williams still in bloom, which is nice. Don't know what this is. My style of gardening is very wabi-sabi, which loosely translated I think means there is perfection in the imperfect, and this is definitely imperfect. Here is one of the maple trees. It's turning its fall colors, which is just gorgeous. The daisies have all been trimmed down. I need to transplant them because they just got out of control. Bird bath, the birds don't seem to like this one. Let's see. Had a bird bath on top of that stump, but it broke. The birds did like that one, so I'll try to recreate it. Just found these two beauties at a yard sale. I'm very excited about doing some photography with those for product. Here's my other Japanese maple, different variety. Starts out bright red and its fall colors turn yellow. Those blue barrels distracting in the background are going to be for rain catchment off the fairy garden roof. And you'll see there's fairies hidden everywhere. You just gotta look to find them. I would be telling you all the names of things, except I don't know them. So let's see, this walkway has been redone a few times. The rocks come from a local beach, and I need to get them filled in because it's been washed out a bit. The spring is not natural, but thank you if you thought it was. This is a tree root that was in the side of the mountain or the hill, that I decided needed to be a spring. So this is about the third or fourth iteration of the waterfall. And then last year I added the brook stream with a recirculating pump down there that the plants have really, because it gets the most water anywhere, are really filling in and loving that there. This passion vine is doing really well. In fact, it's eating the dragon. You can see the dragon there. Tom hung this at the height of the grandsons so they could ring the bell to call the fairies. And you can see the fairies have been having a picnic. And my rhododendron, which I want to turn into a tree, has had spectacular growth this year. Very happy about that. More hostas, begonias, ferns. Everything's doing fairly well here since it's kind of neglected, and that's a ground cover. Oh, I know what it's called, but I can't think of it. So try to have something of interest everywhere you look. There is a mirror, because what's a storybook fairy garden without a magic mirror, in my opinion. Here is a bench that was made from a twin bed headboard and footboard with the design etched in. And it needs work, I realize that. Everywhere I look, it needs to be weeded or straightened or adjusted. But this is what it looks like in fall. I don't know the name of these plants, but they're native to the area. I call them the waving plants because their leaves wave like this. Ferns I didn't even know were deciduous, but I don't think they should be looking that bad anyway. Started a little hillside fairy garden, but you can see the collapse of the hill is imminent. There's another fairy hiding up there, and that was put in to try to keep the deer from using this as a crossing because they were tearing up the hill. I'm trying to fill it in with ferns, which I think is a good erosion control, but that's as far as I got. So there's a lot of hillside left. This is a piece of wood holding the hummingbird feeder that I found at a roadside stop. This tree is a piece of driftwood. My wonderful husband helped me haul up from the beach. I'm always on the lookout for fairy houses, aka bird houses. This one says they're gone flying. Here's a little cow above the fairy mushroom ring. And there's some leprechauns around there. That's about its third or fourth iteration of the fairy ring as well. This is some wood art that was on the property, and it's positioned so the sun comes right through there certain times of the day, probably in the summer, but it's starting to deteriorate even more. Foxgloves, I guess they should be trimmed back. I continued the path off the hill, but I finally dug it out, put some landscape fabric and some sand underneath it for weed control. So it goes across the little brook and out the ferry. You can see how nicely, how nicely the RV is framed, which is for sale. This plant, I don't know how it made its way here. I had some beautiful purple plants in front of this, but this one's fairly ugly, so I'll probably rip it out. An elephant ear is finally sprouted. This is an Australian tree fern that I swear hasn't grown an inch since I popped it in there. So my goal here is to delight the eye, add some whimsy in all sorts of places, take advantage of the beautiful nature and sounds that surround us. I mean, come on, look at these trees. They're just gorgeous. And then project after project after project is awaiting me on this hill and beyond. Rain barrels. But yeah, it's much more colorful in the summer. And with the house build, I've been moving everything around a lot. So sometimes it takes a while to adapt. I've got some cotoneaster in here because it was supposed to be good for erosion control, but it's not doing really well. Blackberries are always on the attack, so we have to keep them at bay. But yeah, isn't that beautiful in the sunshine? I just think it's so pretty. And the pretty sounds. And that's a hummingbird. They're very inquisitive. This bottom was made from a sand cast with the same cement mixture used to make the mushrooms. If anybody's interested, I'll probably talk some more about that. What's it called? Tufa? Yeah, I'll just sit a minute. Listen to the Babbling Brook. I hope you've enjoyed this tour of the fairy garden. All the frogs live in the waterfall. The sounds of tinkling water. The frogs hidden everywhere. Fairy houses tucked in here and there. Bunnies, birds, fuzzy squirrels, and the sunshine. Happy fall equinox. Thank you for watching.